remind you that as is the shrine, so is the worshipper. Ask a man about his God, and you will have found out who he is, not just his God. I've said before, and I'll say it again, it's like when you look at a reference for someone. It tells you far more about the person who's written the reference than it tells you about the person you need to know information about. But there you go. We still take references. Well, I don't know. I've never taken a reference. But then I've never put myself in a position where I was employing others. Yeah. Mum used to say, beware of what you believe, what you desire, for you will surely have it. I think belief is like that. Beware of what you believe. It sort of traps you into something that might not be quite as lovely as you think. I believe that you can only love the person that's the personification of what you value. And I believe this is by definition. That's what we mean. If I value this, this is what I love. If you now press me or I press myself to try and love something other than this, well, I'm moving in the face of who I am. It can only be endless conflict and stagnation. Seek out what you value. Trust accordingly. Learn from your experience living according to these values here, and adjust your values accordingly, as indicated by your experience. And such teaching and wisdom as you may receive. Bless you. I am so moved by John 17. Have been for years and years now. And I feel it has saved me an enormous amount of necessary experience and associated suffering. To find, quite simply, that it's in large part valid. Its guidance is just about miraculous. In fact, probably defines what the miraculous is. In that sense, I brand myself as a fanatic. Whether you call that Christian, I don't know. I call it following Jesus. It's not really the ancient wisdom, though I can see how it may have developed from it, no problem. It is what I understand from a very narrow set of teachings, dominated by John 17 in my mind. But I read other bits of John's Gospel occasionally. Now and again I might even find I'm reading something in another Gospel. But I am that narrow. And I do delight in it. Because this practice has been such an incredible blessing to me. Of course I love it. Wouldn't you, if that were the case for you? Thank you, Dad. Look, you may need someone to suffer for you, to break through your hard shell and open your heart. That might well be why Jesus in the story chooses crucifixion for himself, as a way of saying, I love you. And it touches your compassion, and the wall of hostility goes down, that you may embrace him in your heart. Some of us are unquestionably blessed by not needing that. Especially, I think, if we're used to being loved. But I don't know. If you're not used to being loved and someone loves you, isn't that just what you need? A bit like I didn't feel I was loved by Dad. Does that stop me taking hold of God loving me? No, I want it all the more. All I know is I don't take to this story, this ancient wisdom, that the God has to destroy himself and be resurrected to rescue me. If he did it for others, well, presumably they needed it. Because the Christian thing is that it's not just his suffering to break your resistance to his loving kindness and reach your compassion, but the fact that he's paying your debt. But there's no debt to pay. My kids don't owe me anything. That's all there is to it. I have loved, loving and caring for them. They owe me nothing. They want to be loyal and loving to me because they are grateful. Oh, well, that's just lovely of them. Bless them. Don't require it. I appreciate it, yes. Unquestionably. But I wouldn't want to put it on them as a requirement. I want them to be full of joy, peace, life, eternal, heaven. Because I love them. They don't owe me anything. I do hope to goodness they do love me, of course. That's lovely. Thank you, Dad. So I'm saying that in some respects, the God of the ancient wisdom is not my God. Yeah. We all have an individual view of God. We need to achieve a level of harmony such that we can live in heaven without spoiling it. And when we do that, we each bring to heaven our own view of God. And we are all fascinated by the immense variety of these views and love each other for it. And I do mean love each other for it. Thank you.